There is never not a good time to talk about cold weather because it's always coming. Winter is always coming. So, if you're ready, Ben, can we talk a little bit about cold stress? What exactly is cold stress?
Absolutely, and it's really a great topic to talk about as we head into the winter months here. Cold stress is essentially it results from our body's inability to warm itself. So it occurs in cold temperatures, especially when there's high winds. Workers when they're exposed to overexposure to dampness or cold water, that's when cold stress is going to heat in. And cold stress can actually cause a huge drop in worker safety and production because it's basically taking all our body's energy and solely focusing it on trying to maintain our core body temperature instead of our body's ability to focus on the movements necessary to complete the task and stay safe. So it's definitely counterproductive and also can affect safety as well.
So, I would imagine then that there are like breakdowns of cold stress. What are the common types of cold stress?
There's two main types that we always cover. Frostbite being one. That's just freezing of the skin, typically affecting the extremities like our skin. Can also cause permanent nerve damage, especially in the fingertips. And hypothermia is another really big one, right? When our core body temperature drops below 95 degrees Fahrenheit, that can it can also occur at temperatures above 40 degrees Fahrenheit from wet rain or dampness or sweat. So really, we want to make sure we keep our core body temperature at 95 degrees or higher in cold temperatures. There is an honorable mention. It's not directly due to cold, but trench foot. Right. This is it's a non-freezing injury, but it can occur to especially to the feet from prolonged exposure to wet or cold conditions. So construction workers, anyone working outside, if it's cold and they're standing in damp or wet, flooring or terrain, that can definitely cause trench foot, and there's a magnitude of issues that go along with that.
Trench foot is one of those things that I don't know if you knew about it before you started working for PIP, but I came to Fastenal and trench foot became a thing that I needed to learn about. That is an interesting topic in and of itself, but we won't dive into that. So, what are some regions? What are some industries? What are the types of people, the workers, the areas that are most prone to cold stress?
Sure. I mean, cold weather construction is obviously one that comes to top of mind, right? You think about the Northeast, the Midwest, the Northwest. We're up here in Albany, New York, so we're getting into late September. That's going to be when the temperatures start to drop. So really, in that late fall, winter, and even early spring, those can be very cold months that outdoor construction workers should gear up with cold weather PPE. Some other industries to mention besides just that: cold storage, transportation. You think of agriculture, right? They operate equipment to protect their crops in the cold months. You think of shipyards, MRO, and utilities done outdoors. So really, any industries that require outdoor work to keep the business going year round, you want to be sure that you're wearing the right PPE for cold weather.
Let me see if I get this right. Now, what type of PPE is the most essential to avoid cold stress?
Great question. I would say there's three, main types of PPE that you really want to make sure you're equipped with, and one is something that is our top category, and that's gloves. Insulating gloves is huge, right? I've got one here with me. Our hands, we like to say our hands are our most sophisticated work tools. So protecting them in the cold is essential. Our fingertips undoubtedly contain the most nerve endings. So keeping them insulated, keeping them warm, it won't only protect our nerves from getting too cold or damage, but it'll also significantly increase the production of hand movements, right? When that hand gets cold, you're not as mobily enabled, I'll say, right? You need to be able to find parts, grab tools. So I would say gloves, first and foremost. And the other thing you want to think about with gloves is finding a waterproof, water resistant, or a fully dipped glove. You can see here, this one's acrylically lined. It's got a full hand dip in nitrile. That coating can resist liquids from entering the glove. And when it's cold weather, high winds, and you add liquid to that, that can definitely expedite the cold stress process and cause some nerve damage to our hands. Another thing I want to talk about is insulated workwear, right? So you think about jackets; they cover our body's core. Our body's core inside contain a lot of our vital organs, and that's really our vital organs is what keeps us, efficiently moving and staying healthy throughout the year. So you want to make sure you have an insulated jacket. If you need high visibility in your market, an insulated high vis jacket would be most optimal. And again, that's to protect our core body temperature and those vital organs within our core. So very important. Same thing with gloves. You want to pick a jacket that maybe has a ripstop material or some type of water repellent shell. That's what's going to, again, keep the liquids out and keep us warm. And hard hat liners, right? You think about our head. Our head is one of the body parts with a higher heat loss. So having an insulated, whether it's a beanie or a hard hat liner, that's huge to maintaining our core body temperature and working efficiently in cold temperatures. So I would say gloves, insulated garments, and certainly something on your head to keep you warm.
Okay. I hear you on keeping the head warm. My hair doesn't seem to be keeping up these days, so I've switched over to hats a lot more. Anyway, what features, what things should people be looking for when looking at cold weather specific PPE?
Yeah, I mentioned a few things in my in that last question there, but like I mentioned, gloves, you definitely want them insulated for the winter. It can be acrylic, wool, maybe some added cotton, some type of engineered liner designed to keep the hands warm in cold temperatures. And again, protection from liquids. This glove is fully coated in nitrile. There are some gloves that are inherently or treated to repel liquids. Liquids in cold temperatures is a no-no. We want to stay away from that. So look for a glove that's coated or either has an inherent or treated material that'll keep away the liquids in the cold. And yeah, I would say those are the big two. When we think about garments, it's the same thing, right? Insulation is number one. Finding a jacket that doesn't restrict mobility is huge. So we obviously want it insulated, but workers with the big puffy jackets, while it's keeping them warm, it can limit their mobility and can actually decrease their efficiency on the job. So finding a really good jacket that keeps you warm, that keeps you comfortable, that's definitely an essential that you want to consider when trying out these types of garments. As far as the external material of the garments, again, I mentioned ripstop. That's basically a cross weave in the outer shell. A lot of them are made of polyester. That's what's going to keep the garment durable, right? When guys and girls are working around tools, heavy machinery, they can get snagged, and when those garments rip, it's not a cheap replacement. So finding something with a ripstop material that's durable and also water repellent, whether it's treated or inherent, whatever it may be, keeping liquids off of our hands and our bodies is huge in cold temperatures.
Okay, so I think I see a common theme here. Protect your hands. Insulation is always a good idea. If you can have insulation on the hands and the gloves, stop liquids, cover your head. That's about what we're talking about, right? I mean, in a nutshell.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems simple, right? But a lot of workers out there are not equipped with the right PPE. So just learning and knowing these simple tips to the trade, right? Having the right PPE, those are the game changers.
Okay, so I got to feed you a question here. I have to. What innovations, we're talking about cold stress here, what types of cold stress prevention that PIP is working on are like game changers? What is out there for staying warm while working in really cold environments?
Sure. I'm glad you asked that question. I mentioned the gloves. I don't have a garment here. It's a little too big to fit into the frame. But, as you know, PIP from head to toe, we've got hot weather environment PPE and we've got cold weather PPE just alike. So gloves, hard hat liners, garments, we've got that. One really, really exciting innovation that we just came out with last year is our base layer technology. It's branded Boss. This is a game changer in my opinion because we talked about mobility, right? And staying mobile and staying efficient. This vest is a base layer vest. So it is something that can be worn over a t-shirt and under a jacket, right? It's battery powered. It's got some heating panels here on the front and back. Comes in this sleek packaging, so it's really nice. And it's battery powered. It lasts up to about 5 hours. It's got 3 heat settings. It's rechargeable. And again, it stays directly on your base. It's a one size fits all. So staying mobile and staying warm, it's a perfect solution for that.
Well, Ben, I've taken enough of your time. I'm going to try and do a recap here, and you tell me where I go astray. PIP recently won an award for outstanding new invention along the lines of, help me here.
It's a winter garment hazard, so extreme cold.
Yeah,
Um,
down to negative 51. That's crazy to me. Okay.
yeah,
And then we also have, some good back and forth about cold stress in general. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting, or are we about there?
no, I think you've covered it all. I think we covered the essentials. We've covered cold stress and the dangers, and was really excited to cover our base layer technology. So, past that, reach out to us with any questions. We're super excited to introduce new innovations to the market, and I'm glad to be here and have this conversation. So, thank you.